Welcome to MECHYATRA, a podcast presented by AMES Bulletin Board, where we'll be taking you to an exciting journey of an amazing world of mechanical engineering. I'm your host, Trina, and here in each episode, we bring you a fascinating conversations with the brilliant mind where we'll be talking about latest trends, technologies, and various life stories. So, whether you are a seasoned pro or just starting off, MECHYATRA is for everyone. So sit back, relax, and let's begin. Introducing today's guest, he is a renowned expert and professor at Department of Energy and Process Engineering at Norwegian University of Science and Technology and a visiting professor here at Kathmandu University. He has a wealth of knowledge to share with us today, so I can't wait to have a conversation with him. So without any further ado, please welcome Professor Ole Gunnar Dahlhaug. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
It's so great to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So actually, I have heard so much about you from our seniors and teachers out here. So it's really a privilege to have you here. And so without, before landing up in the technical aspect, I just want to ask you a general question about how have you been, or what is like, in here in KU or here in Nepal overall.
Yeah, so that answer can be long and it can be short. First of all, I came to Nepal first time in 2002, and I remember when I landed in Nepal. I have never been to Asia before. I had never been to Nepal. The smell was different.
Yeah.
The weather was warm and humid, and it was dark when I came. And I was taken to Dulikhel, and I got a room at Dulikhel Lodge. And in the morning when I woke up, it was a clear sky, and I could see the mountains. And I think I have been in love with Nepal ever since. It just crept under my skin.
Yeah, I was just born in 2002, so it was long back. So, what changes have you seen from then and now coming here?
And there has been quite big changes. Traffic, for example,
Yeah.
is one thing. But if I have been living in Jamsikel in Kathmandu last 10 months. And in that area, we can see big changes when it comes to, for example, cafeterias, you find restaurants, you find Indian, you find Mexican,
Yeah.
Italian, everything is there. And it's so nice. It is really so nice to be there. And what I see is that there is a mix of culture, and the culture is changing, and some of the Nepali is missing or going away because it's becoming more and more westernized. That's the change.
Yeah,
But of
definitely.
course, you also keep the Nepali part. So going out of Jamsikel into Dulikhel, you're back
Yeah.
to normal Nepal. And I grown so fond of the food here.
Yeah.
I can't stop
Can you
eating it.
name any of them? Maybe.
For breakfast, I have um, 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 what's the name? Uh, chana
Yeah.
and malbua, and of course tia. That's my typical breakfast these days. And I can't have enough of momos.
Yeah, definitely.
And of course, dal is for dinner. And we introduced it back home as well. My first time here as a visiting professor was in 2003 to 4. And at that time, I brought my family. We had two kids, two girls, and they were 4 and 8 years old. Um, and having them in Nepal and learning the Nepali way and introducing them to the culture and food has been
Yeah.
kind of part of us. So our family, we still have, even in Norway, we prepare Nepali food.
Yeah.
So we call it, my wife, her name is Nina. So for example, the dalbat is Nina's dalbat.
Do you find it spicy, or
No,
is it fine for you?
I got used to it, I guess. In the start, yes,
Yeah.
but not today. My favorite dish is one of my favorite dishes, chicken chilies,
Oh.
and of course that is spicy, no doubt about that,
Yeah.
and it's so good.
So could you, Tell us about the difference here in Nepal and there in Norway, in terms also about university perspective here in KU and in NTNU as well.
Yeah, the big difference is the development, I guess. It's more developed and it's more, so to say, structured. Uh, you can take the traffic, for example. We follow the traffic rules. While here, you drive past the cars on the inside, outside, and sometimes over, I can see. But it's that's one thing. The traffic rules is very different, and it goes a lot faster. The university, I would say the daily life in Norway is different because we have it's colder. So our houses are insulated, so we are warm inside while it's cold outside. So the first year when we came here in 2003 to 4, I had never been so cold because it's cold inside as well. Well, we are used to when we come home that we can take off our
Is
clothes.
it is
It's
it cold
warm.
all year, or do you
No,
have seasons there as
it's kind of summertime. It's normal temperature is between 15 and 20 degrees. Wintertime, it's cold. This could be down to minus 20 in my hometown. Normal will be around 0 degrees and a lot of snow.
well? Yeah.
And
Can
a
you
lot of snow.
describe more about the working approach here in this university and back there in NTNU as well?
I would say the working approach is when it comes to classes, it's kind of the same thing. We teach the same way. We might have better uh, tools when it comes to presenting, but basically, when we teach mathematics, we teach it the same manner you do here. But the big difference is the research. So we are doing research-based education. So the latest research we are doing, we bring into the classroom, and then that's the big difference because here less research is handling. So that's the biggest difference, I would say. But compared to 2003 and today, it has changed a lot. So now I would say that research is coming up, and I see also that research is brought into the classroom here. So this is changing. Uh,
We have a lot of teachers here as well who did their PhD under your supervision. So we hear a lot about you from them as well. So, talking about these stuff, could you name some fun incidents here, which, in Nepal as a whole, is there any particular fun incident that would just, whenever you talk about it, it just brings a smile up on your face? Or
I think one fun incident is uh, having 4 people on a scooter. The women sitting sideways on the motorcycle.
Oh yeah.
When the trash is taken from
Yeah.
your place,
Yeah.
it goes into a truck which is always
Yeah.
fully loaded, and the grid lines or the chaos in the grid lines and the network lines hanging around all over the place. It's something that brings a smile to my face.
Yeah. So amazing, actually. So let's just shift gears a bit. So let's just walk through your background or where it all started. What just sparked your interest in this field, particularly in the field of hydropower or energy? How did it all started?
That's a tough question. Curiosity,
Ah, yeah,
of course,
definitely.
curiosity. But how did it become? Did I work with hydropower? That's a coincidence. I think I could work with any engineering thing, and I would be equally interested. But my background, we could go back to my background. My father was a car mechanic,
Oh,
so I would like to be like him.
yeah.
So I started as a car mechanic. I took the courses and the classes uh, to prepare myself as a car mechanic, and I got a certificate, which means I could work as a car mechanic. And then in Norway, it's compulsory. At least when I was a kid, it was compulsory to go into the military service.
Oh,
So I decided that I would like to take some more education working in the military. So I started school working with airplanes, ending up working with the fighter planes as a car mechanics on the motor, or the engines, or the gas turbines. And I think that's when the curiosity started, because I did not understand how it worked. I could fix it, I could repair it, and I started to test it. And at one point, I started to ask questions: Why is this happening? And what do I do now when I do this? When I change this parameter? And nobody could answer me now those questions. Most people working in the military, at least with my unit, they didn't have the background to tell me.
Oh, is it compulsory to go to the military there?
Yes, it is.
Oh.
It was for everybody, all boys. Now it's also for boys and girls, but not everybody goes in. So I would say today only 1 out of 5 goes into the military service. When I was a kid, all boys went in. So, but anyway, that was my background. So when that triggered my I would say application to the university. And then I started taking a bachelor as a mechanical engineer, and then I went to USA for my master degree. So, and then when I came back, I started to work at a research company called Sintef, and that's where I met the hydropower community, and that was so interesting. So I started from there, and this was in 1992.
It's all like that.
And then during the period when we work with research, then at some point the possibilities to take a PhD comes up, and I said, okay, I really would like to learn more. And then being a PhD means that you can actually spend 3 years working on one subject, and you can dig deep into it. I saw that possibility, that inspired me. So I started to work on a problem with draft tube flow in hydropower plants, and that was the starting point. So then I went back to the university at NTNU, and I worked on that for 3 years, ending in 1998, and then that was when I defended my thesis. So it feels like yesterday, but
Yeah. Actually, when I saw your LinkedIn profile, I saw all your experiences, and I just realized that we have so long way to go. And I think it's true that it all started with the one word, that's curiosity. I
it
think
is curiosity.
every engineer has this one common. I think people would love to know about your project right now as well. So are there anything that you can share with us about your recent project?
And there, right now, I'm supervising, or I'm leading 4 different projects. There are 2 at home in Norway and 2 here. One big here and one small one here. There is one called Hydro Himalaya, which is a 6-year project. The whole point of that project is that aim is to strengthen the PhD education here at Kathmandu University. But PhD education means research.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what inspired me.
Yeah.
So, and the research we are doing within that project is sediment erosion on hydroturbines, hydrogen production, and then how the grid lines of the electricity system can handle the different loading, consumption, and production, so that it is stable. And my background is, of course, from turbine side, and I have been working with the turbine testing lab here at Kathmandu for many years on the topic of sediment erosion. And it never stops fascinating me, the problems that occurs with these small particles of sand that is coming to the turbine. And in this case, we are working on how can we predict failures or erosion in turbines. How can we put sensors into the power plant, so that for example, artificial intelligence use those algorithms to detect what's going on, and also maybe to give recommendation to the operator how what to do when this is happening. It's really fascinating, and It's going on in all over the world within the hydropower business. We call it digitalization. It's mainly surveillance of the power plants and how to actually predict and detect and then make decisions based on what we can measure.
It's so fascinating. So you are working both here and in NTNU. So in this particular topic, in research field, what do you think is the major difference here and there in NTNU in terms of research?
I think at the university level, I think the big difference is that we go. It's more basic research at home, while here it's more applied, meaning you're working directly with the power plants and how to actually implement it. I think that is correct because in the stage where Nepal is right now, universities should be taking part in how to build the country and how to build the technology out there. I guess we are kind of past that stage and we have taken one step back, and then now we're working on the big problems that we know that arises from the industry.
Is it the
So that's
same like the hydropower here and the industries there as well?
more or less the same thing. The only big difference is that you have sediment in the water. We don't. That's the big difference. But we have quite a lot more power installed. So here you have around two gigawatts of power installed, while we have 33 in Norway. So it's kind of more developed and more kind of say more remote controlled. There are no people working in the power plants in Norway. They are remotely controlling it. While here, when you come to the power plant, there are crowds of people. So that's a big difference.
So being a mechanical engineering student myself as well, and I think there's plenty of students who are looking up for opportunities and very in various fields, and especially in the field of hydropower or be it energy sector. So what opportunities do you see for the students here at Nepal in terms of in the hydropower industries and energy sector?
You have to look at the big picture here. Everybody knows that there's a climate change, and we need to change our behavior and also how we produce energy. Hydropower is one of the renewables, and here in Nepal, we have abundance of solar energy available, and you have some wind energy and some bioenergy. But the combination of utilizing both the solar and hydropower is, in my opinion, now the biggest uh, opportunity, I would say, for Nepal. And within those two elements, there are plenty of jobs for the mechanical engineers. How can you build them? How can you operate them? How can you maintain all these stations? That is something that is coming up the next few years, and it's happening in such a fast pace that I haven't seen it before. And just within the hydropower sector, what they're building now is more than that is operating at the moment. And so imagine what will happen in the future if you continue that kind of development. For sure, there will be a lot of opportunities for the mechanical engineers. So I believe that this is the future for you guys.
So, when we are talking about the future, I think people here are a lot more concerned right now. Is a lot more concerned about the sustainable development and clean energy. I think these topics are one of the most repeated topics nowadays. So, what do you think is the future of hydropower? Whenever you think about these topics, so what's next related to these topics for hydropower and
I think hydropower is one of the solutions. It's a part of the solution, I would say, for Nepal and also for this region. In order to be sustainable or to be have a clean energy production or and a consumption, you need to develop the hydropower and the solar and all the renewables, I would say. But for Nepal, it's solar and hydropower. And how can you do that? And how can you take away the fossil fuels? In order to do that, you need either electric cars or hydrogen-driven cars, which means you need to start to look into hydrogen. So the storage storage side, how can you actually store energy and utilize it for the electric cars and the transport sector? That's the key question. And in my opinion, that's you have Nepal has so much energy available. It's here. It will happen. So you can be 100% renewable if you develop it in a good manner. The challenge is, of course, to do it in a sustainable way. Yeah, and that's of course. But imagine if you could take away all the fossil fuels. You could take away all import of diesel and gasoline from India, which is about 12% of the gross product here in Nepal. Just doing that brings a lot of money back to Nepal, and it brings a lot of workplaces. And if you could start to think a bit broader, then next step would be fertilizer or ammonia. That's needed. Today, Nepal buys it from somebody else. And the third one is cement. If you look around, they're using cement all over the place, and that you need a lot of energy to do that as well. And another thing is steel. How do you actually generate or produce green steel? You need green energy to do that. Today, it's fossil fuels that are used. So having the energy or the source available like you have, it's the possibility for Nepal to grow to a very developed country in a fairly short period of time.
Having said, we have so many scope and we have so many opportunities here in Nepal, but we don't see that kind of progress going on here. So, what do you think is wrong with the working process here? Or is it about the working, or is it about people not realizing that we have so much of energy here?
Oh, that's a tough question. I think it is a political question. It's the political decisions that needs to be taken. And in my opinion, this is up to the parties. And in order to change what happens today, it's your generation that has to vote for different ways of doing it and step up to become one of the leaders, I think. What I see, for example, the mayor of Kathmandu now, he's an engineer, relatively young, rap artist. It's so nice to see that these young people, I think that is giving me hope that changes will happen. Uh, so this is the way I think the old ones like me need to bring more youngsters or young people into the decision making, and also, but the first step is to make sure that uh, the parties and the people there has the right attitude. Yeah. So some people need to step up with different mindset, with the mindset that I hear and listen to when I meet students. I think that's the same mindset I see or hear with youngsters back home in Norway. New sustainable development has to come. Renewables has to be prioritized.
So, as a student myself as well, when I see you, all your experiences, it's such an inspiration to see you like this. So, from being a student and all the journey, and then from to being a professor here, what do you think was the biggest challenge for you as a person? And is there anything you want to say about that?
I think the management system here is different from at home. We have a bottom-up kind of approach to taking decisions, and it's more and decisions are more distributed. While here it's centralized, so that's a big difference. So I here I need to go all the way to top to get a decision. While in Norway I go to my nearest boss and then I might get a decision. So that's a big step, a big difference. And going all the way to the top means it takes time. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the biggest difference. But when it comes to working environment and working place and the topics we're working on now, I would say it's more or less the same thing. It's students are when I meet students, they are the same. maybe the approach, the respect to the professor sometimes prevents the students to talk directly to me. That doesn't happen in Norway. The students are more critical to me than anybody.
That's good, actually.
It is good. I really would like the students to maybe to be a little less humble, to be more direct, ask the questions they need to ask to understand what they need to learn. That's also a big difference.
Yeah,
So
there's a
maybe
hierarchy here, you know. You just have like in terms of knowledge, you should like feel like you have to respect someone who knows a lot about you. But with that respect, there comes a barrier about asking questions and maybe giving criticism about you can do it this way or that way as well. So yeah,
but the
that is.
problem here is that not a problem. As my professor, the title being professor, gives you the respect.
Yeah.
But in Norway, I have to prove my respect to the students. That's when so by telling them, by teaching them, by guiding them, not by the professorship anymore. So that's a big difference.
Is there any challenges that you have faced as a student that you want to share with us? Back in those days, being a student, and how was it different than now?
I wouldn't say it's a big difference. I think everybody has at one point failed a class. So did I, of course. And I think that was a tough one. When you don't succeed, and the stress level you have when you don't succeed, and you feel that you don't understand, or
Yeah.
and then coming out of the exam knowing that you have failed is something that I remember to be a tough situation. Looking back at it, I think maybe I could be more pragmatic about it, telling myself that I should, okay, this is just an exam. I can
Yeah.
do one more time later on, and then learn from that. So that's. But coming into, I think what inspired me the most was when I came into the lab, when I could work with the physical things, when I
Yeah.
could actually
Yeah.
saw what I was doing was giving me some kind of uh, there was something that happens,
Practically.
practical
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
That gave me a very a kind of motivation to work on. Yeah. So when you come into the turbine testing lab, for example, I see the same thing.
Yeah.
I can see that the students also feel the same thing
Yeah, definitely.
when they learn and when they understand what's going on. So that's one.
Journey. Yeah.
That's a journey.
Yeah.
Something you learn from.
Yeah.
And you will always succeed. Sometimes you succeed, sometimes you fail,
Yeah.
and you just have to learn from it, move on.
Yeah.
It's not the very end of the world. The sun will come up tomorrow morning anyway.
Yeah. That's true. So, when we are talking about these things, it's all about us and developing the nation and, doing things right. But we can see there are many people who are, interested in pursuing their higher studies or in the foreign countries, or they are just, um, seeking for opportunities abroad. So, what do you think is your opinion on that? And how do you think that would be right or is it wrong?
It's wrong, and it is scary. Um, what I see now, what I hear is that there is a big brain drain from Nepal. A lot of people that are finished with their study, they go out of Nepal, and they stay out of Nepal, and they bring their parents with them to the other place. And this is not the way to build a country. So there are two sides of this, and I think the reason why they're going is because they don't see a future here. So the only way to stop this from happening is to start building the nation Nepal by building the possibilities for people like you. And how do you do that? I think that it has to start in politics. The people, uh, the government has to build possibility, open doors so that you can build new companies to build. For example, if you're going to start with hydrogen, there has to be companies building it, doing it. And who should start that? It's you. Who should start working with the green steel, green cement, ammonia? It has to be the student, if people come, or the engineers. So they have to give some kind of incentive or help these people to start these companies so they can grow. And also maybe also the government can give some incentives to these people who are willing to do that, so that it's a possibility to get started. This this happens in Europe today. A lot of There are a lot of incentives for new innovation. So if I find a new idea, I can go out and start my company, and I get some help from the government. That would be the way to start. And maybe this is also a way for Nepal to ask for help from other countries. I think in the Energize Nepal, the program that is going on here now, we are the next phase we are going into. We want to push that to the kind of a later stage of development. So we want to learn or help more people like you, to bring the idea out into the field so that it can be tested. And when it's tested and verified, then they can start a company based on it. These are the things I think is needed.
I think there are so many people who are willing to have their own startup, or they're just starting their own business. But the major problem would be like they don't get that push, or they don't get that recognition, or for to initialize their business as a whole. And at last, they're just become discouraged. And what next? To just go abroad. So I think the major reason is to just be like, if you want to go abroad and learn something, learn there, but come here and implement it. So is there any advice you want to give to that student who really want to start their own business, but are not feeling enough encouraged? And
But I think, in my opinion, and also in the Western opinion, the entrepreneur is the hero today. They are the heroes of today because they will build an industry of the next for the future. And there are Microsoft will not work forever. There will be a new one. Somebody will build that, and that person or those persons can come from Nepal, might come from Nepal. So don't be scared about doing it. It's a tough road to follow, but it's so valuable, and it's also, I would say, it gives you so much pleasure to create something on your own based on your own ideas. It's one of the most valuable things you can do, both for yourself and for your country. And it gives everybody, I think, something to learn from. But doing it, I have to say, it's a tough road to follow. But it's when you succeed, it's really a nice.
it's
Thing.
definitely a hard path to go to. Yeah.
So try to pursue, try to do it, try to build a team, pursue your ideas and dreams, I would say. But do it in your country and for your country. That's important.
It will definitely be so inspiring for the people watching us. So I'm definitely sure there are so many aspiring engineers, or enthusiasts who are watching us today. So at last, do you want to give any words of wisdom to them as well?
I would say follow your dream. Don't let the others build your future. Build it based on your own ideas. Don't stop because others says that this is not possible. Just do it. That's my opinion. So please look at what's possible. Look at what you can do. And if you have an idea of something new, pursue it. Do it. Don't be scared about it. It's always valuable. You can never fail if you do that.
It is such an inspirational word. Thank you so much, Professor. I think It was so great to have you here, and me personally, sitting here and listening to you is such a privilege. So thank you so much for coming and accepting our, invitation. And yeah, we look forward for more words from you as well.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Before leaving, we have some exciting gifts from our sponsors as well. This one is Gamia Plans. He is actually an entrepreneur himself as well. He is a student from Kathmandu University, so it's simple as a small token of love for you.
Thanks a lot.
The more details are there in the QR. You can
Okay,
just find
I will have to scan it and
Yeah,
I will
yeah.
go through. Thanks. I'll put it into my office here at Kathmandu University and then see it grow. Thanks. Nice.
And this one is a small token of love from our side.
Oh wow, this is something I will bring to my home office and I'm have it every day on my desk. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. To all of you.
It's such a privilege to have you here. Thanks again, sir.
It's nice to be here. Thanks.
So we have come to an end for today's episode. This is it for today, and we'll be definitely be back with a brand new episode, a brand new experience and life stories. So till then, stay tuned and keep following MECHYATRA. Kamya Plans Interior and Decor is an eco-conscious startup founded by Gunjan Adhikari, an environmental science student at Kathmandu University. They specialize in producing and supplying ornamental plants, cut flowers, food trees, and varieties of indoor and outdoor plants. With the focus on sustainability, their mission is to promote positive environmental change while providing beautiful and eco-friendly options for various plant lovers. Do visit their stores to explore a wide selection and bring home the perfect green addition for your space.